ready, it's time for VinDog Radio Live. The show will begin shortly.
Further ado, let's bring on VinDog. Vinny, what's cracking, man?
Hey, what's up? It's Rick Dees in the morning. Don't forget to wake up with me right here. But right now, VinDog.
What's going on, brother? We got Captain America VinDog, man. This is great.
Asked VinDog to bring his DJ voice. He's an interviewer, and so that's what we're going to be doing today. So please welcome my good friend VinDog, and we're going to be taking questions at the end as we usually.
Actor, author, extraordinaire, the man. He does it all. My brother, Christopher Palaha. What's up, man?
What's up, big dog?
Breaking Barriers is all about my brother, Mr. Ryan Tillman. How you doing, man?
Big Vin dog, what's going on, my brother? I am doing well. How you doing today?
Let the government be your daddy. You are self-governed.
Now here he is, a lover of God, America, and people. Captain America himself, VinDog Radio.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to a special Thursday edition of VinDog Radio Live. We are going to have a great time today, and it's going to be exciting. And yes, I have a very special guest in the house, and he is here for the first time. And I am so honored and blessed to have him in the house. The rapping dad himself, Mr. Derek Clark. How are you, my friend?
What's up, VinDog, my brother? Doing good, brother. Thanks for having me, man. It's going to be an exciting time right now.
Oh, man, it's going to be the best time ever today because, you know, people have had some hard days today, probably at the workstation or they're still there and they're watching. Man, we're going to lift them up.
Right.
That's what we're going to do today. We're going to do that today.
Let you know to never give up, to never limit your life, to live beyond your self-perceived limits.
Yes, sir. And yes, sir. Let me know how you became the rapping dad.
Oh, well, the rapping dad is kind of just like something that just happened. I was just rapping in the car with my kids on the way to a tennis clinic, to a country club tennis clinic, right? And I'm with my two kids and we're just rapping in the car. We would always rap in the car. And then my son had turned on the camera and we recorded us doing a little rap. And then we put it on YouTube and we're like, holy cow, we got like 100 views. We're going viral. And we were so excited. And then it sat. And then about a month later, we got like 1,000 views and we were so excited. Then it did nothing for like 6 months. And then all of a sudden it went up to like 10,000 views. And within a month, all of a sudden 1 million views. And then and it just took off. And then it just took off from there. It's had like, I have about 300 million views on my videos. And so many people have shared the video. It's just kind of crazy. I put out Rappin' Dad videos on my social media here and there. I don't do it as often as I should because I got a real job. I'm a wannabe rapper. That's what I told Steve Harvey on his TV show. I'm a motivational speaker by day and a wannabe rapper at night.
Now, how was it being on the Steve Harvey show? How is he?
Yeah, Steve's awesome. We had great chemistry. You know, you can watch the episode, Steve Harvey and Rappin' Dad, and I'm such a big guy. I'm all touching his shoulders and holding him and stuff. And so, no, he is really cool. He's a great guy. Lots of wisdom in that guy. Lots of wisdom.
That's awesome. That's awesome. And yeah, so you know, you have one of the most incredible stories.
Oh, thank you.
That I have heard in the longest time. And I'm just like, I was blown away because my good friend, Patrick, DJ Pat D, was like, hey, man, you've got to check this guy out. The rapping dad, Derek Clark.
Yeah, DJ Pat.
Awesome.
Yeah, DJ Pat. What's up?
And he was telling me, he goes, you got to check this guy out. And he goes, I guarantee you, you're going to love this brother, man.
Oh, nice.
He's one of us, man. He's
That's
a believer, but he's doing things in life to try and help people get off of the ground of brokenness.
Yes. I deal with a lot of people that are broken, but that doesn't mean it's the end. Your temporary situation is not your final destination, right? And so I just got back recently from speaking to a few prisons, high level prisoners, and some of the prisoners have already gotten out, and they've sent me messages, DMs on my Instagram saying, "What's up? Can you share some more wisdom with me?" So that's amazing. Just trying to change one life at a time.
Mm-hmm. So you have a pretty awesome testimony, man. Like I told you, it was like it was like a gut puncher to me. I'm like, what in the world? I'm like, how does anybody even come from that? You know what I mean? That has to be one of the most horrific stages in life ever for anyone to go through.
Yeah, the darkness that I was in, the toxicity, the sadness that I was in. My mom had been raped and sexually abused, and she got pregnant by this man who forced himself on her. And when he found out that she was pregnant, he told her, "You better go kill the kid. You better go get an abortion, or I'll kill the kid myself." So at 3 months, no abortion, 6 months, no abortion, 7 months pregnant, my mom is waitressing at a restaurant in San Diego, California, doing her job, waiting tables. And my 6'5" dad comes into that restaurant in a fit of rage and grabs my mother by her long blonde hair and whiplashes her head to the floor and continues to stomp on her stomach at 7 months pregnant. But I lived. See, God has a way of taking broken pieces and turning them into masterpieces, brother.
Amen.
So we might be broken, but in the end, we are a masterpiece. We are a masterpiece. And God uses imperfect people and people that have been broken to do amazing things in this life for centuries and centuries and centuries. So don't you give up. Don't you give up. There is a purpose. On the other side of your pain is a purpose. On the other side of your pain is a purpose. So get a reward for the pain you've been through. Get a reward. The pain, this life is just a tuition to where you're supposed to be. Sometimes it's not focusing on what you're going through. It's focusing where you're going to, and you're a child of God. And God has a bigger plan. And sometimes I fall. Sometimes I'm like, "Where are you, God?" I understand that. I wrote a book called "I Will Never Give Up on God Again." I had given up on God for many years. But I wrote this book, "I Will Never Give Up on God Again," from feeling abandoned by God to feeling embraced by God, realizing that God had never left me. I had left him. Bam.
Man. And you know what's so amazing about that, Derek? He chases us down.
Right. Sometimes I'm like, "Okay, God, I'm not. Don't use me anymore. I'm tired of being broken. I'm tired of going through the brokenness again." But I realize it's for my own growth, and I have to have the right mindset versus a victim mentality, but also look at it differently and go a victor reality. Divorce your story, right? Victim to victor.
Yes, absolutely, 155 billion% right. Let me ask you this. So your childhood was pretty rough, right?
Very rough.
What was it like?
Yeah, so we lived in a park. We were homeless. We lived in a yucky old one-car garage. Then we lived in this man's house, and my mom got pregnant with his kid, 3 kids, 3 different men, and he turned on me, and I have scars all over me from brutal child abuse. And they had enough of me at age 5, and they abandoned me at a psychiatric hospital at 5 years old. And from there, I would get labeled and diagnosed and have all these issues, erratic psychosis, emotionally disturbed, mentally, like all these issues. And then I was transferred to a shelter for unadoptable kids. And it was a shelter behind Juvie in Alameda County, Oakland, California, or San Leandro, California, right next to Oakland. And then I would spend the next 13 years in foster care, in Alameda County foster care system, a very tough foster care system.
Wow.
So, yeah, it was tough. It was very tough. You feel, my mom kept my brother and sister. So growing up, I always felt rejected. Like the good kids got to stay with mom and the bad kid got thrown away. And I always had a problem with that. And guess the number one thing I would pray for, Vindog, guess what it would be? The number one thing I would pray for while I was in foster care What do you think?
For God to take you out of the world.
No, for God to put me back in my mom's arms. To go
Oh,
home.
wow.
To go home. And yet I had this foster home that was loving, but I wanted to go back to the chaos, the toxicity, because we're biologically wired to go back to our organic family, our biological family, right? So, but my prayers were never answered. Never. And thank God for unanswered prayers, because look how I turned out. If I had gone back home, chances are I'd be like my dad in prison.
Man, that's insane. And you have scars to prove all of this.
Yeah.
I mean, your hands being put on hot fire or something like that on the
Yeah, I
stove.
was burned. Yeah. My mom was so angry at me. Yeah, she burned the skin off of my top of my hand here. And yeah, it's very crazy situation. I've been they tried numerous times to drown me in the toilet. They ripped my arm from my shoulder. This shoulder here is much higher than this shoulder, as you can see right there. Actually, it's off angle. It's I was in a sling for quite a long time. They never took me to the hospital to get it fixed. Yeah, I have PTSD that I've had to overcome. I don't really have it now. I went through a therapy called EMDR, eye movement desensitization reprocessing, that allowed me to go back and rescue that little boy and start the healing process, which EMDR totally changed my life. That's a great therapy.
Oh man, that's
I
great.
think Kaiser, I'm from Cali. Kaiser has, I think it's a 70% success rate with veterans with PTSD. So it has a good, it has a major ability to help heal.
So you are being a big inspiration to a lot of people out there. You do a lot of speaking engagements. I was reading a testimony from a young lady who walked up to you and she was in tears,
Right.
because she was a survivor of major child abuse. She was stabbed numerous amounts of times by her dad.
Yeah.
This is crazy. This
Yeah.
is a guy that is supposed to be the protector of her and the
Right, right.
family.
Yeah.
I mean, how do you just...
It's so
Wow.
sad. I was speaking to thousands of high school students, and when I was done, I literally was speaking to students for about 45 minutes, and I was kind of tired. But this one little girl came up to me with her peer resource teacher and says, "I know you're tired, Mr. Clark, but will you listen to her story?" And I noticed that she had a big scar across her neck right there. And I thought, oh my gosh, she may have a story here. And then she had said that she had come home from school at 16 years old. So 16-year-old. And she's just a small little girl, small little teenager, right? And she comes home and she sees that her dad is in a rage and had duct taped her mom to a chair and was stabbing her mother to death. So she jumped on the back of her dad to try to pull him off, and he threw her. She went and grabbed a phone and called 911. And then he looked at her and he jumped on her like a lion to a gazelle. He just ran to her and stabbed her 28 times. And I said to her, "Can you show me some of the scars?" And she goes, "That's what this big scar is across her neck." Then she turned her neck there. There was a bunch of scars here. There were scars all over her tummy, all over her back. And then she pulled her wrists back like this. And she goes, "I only wear long sleeve shirts." And she said her dad had ripped both of her wrists up with a knife. And the ambulance came and the police came. And they said that the wrists the wrists looked like spaghetti. It was so bad with the tendons and the blood. It was so awful. They rushed her to the hospital. They weren't sure she was going to make it, but she spent almost a year in that hospital. And I asked her, "What do you want to be when you grow up?" Because now at this point, that happened 2 years prior, right? So she's, she's 18. That's right. She's telling me what happened 2 years prior when she was 16. And so she said to me, "I want to be a nurse." I go, "What do you want to do with your life?" She goes, "I want to be a nurse." And I said, "You know what that tells me is you care about people." She goes, "Yeah, because I can go in that hospital where I was learning how to walk again. And all the nurses and the doctors will come up and give me love." I said, "Are you mad at your dad?" are you so angry at you? Where's your dad? And she goes, he's not here for me to be mad at. And I go, what do you mean? She goes, he killed himself in the car later on. And I thought, oh my gosh. And I found out she was driving the car still that dad had killed her, bled himself out in. And so me and another peer resource teacher, we put together a fundraiser to help her get a newer car, a different car, because she's driving this tomb basically. And do you know that the police department, we called the police department, they remember that being one of the bloodiest scenes they'd ever been to. And do you know that the police department kicked in like almost 90% of the money to get her a car?
God bless them for that.
Yeah, amazing.
Yeah, amazing things can happen when people get together and work for the greater good that God put us on earth to do.
Right. That's
know?
the thing with America. We got to come together, right? You know, the
Mhm.
believers got to come together. We talked about this. The
Yep.
believers got to come together.
Hey, man, we got to stand tall together as one people.
I know. It's insane. There's so much division in this country.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and it's sad that a lot of it is being done that
Yeah,
way, and I'm just like, man, you know, people wake up, man.
Yeah, I
It-
see
it-
it.
it-
I'm out there. I see it. And it's not only political divide, religious divide, racial
Mhm.
divide, economic divide, like all these things. We got to come together. I love that old quote. I think it was a Catholic somebody. I know it was a father of the Catholic religion that said, "We are not humans having a spiritual experience. We are spirits having a human experience."
True.
And man, if we could just realize that we're all here as one collective energy to help each other, man, we could accomplish so much. We could accomplish so much. I'm out there. I'm a hope dealer, man. I'm a hope dealer. I ain't a dope dealer. I ain't a dream stealer or a hate dealer. I'm a hope dealer. And I gave a TED talk on the power of determination. And I
Mhm.
came up with this acronym for HOPE, helping one person every day. When it becomes helping one person every day, you want to do more, then it becomes helping other people excel. So I look at myself as I'm out there slinging hope.
Hey, you're a hope slinger.
Yeah.
I love it, bro. I love it. I love it. So,
Thank you.
what are the furthest places on the planet have you been to motivate folks?
Oh, Australia a couple times, all the way to part of the Northern Territory of Canada for the First Nations, the Native Americans up there. Yeah. So
Mm-hmm.
from the
What was
bottom,
it like?
basically.
What was it like speaking to the youngsters in Australia?
Yeah, they love your accent, number one. You don't think you have an accent, but they love your accent. Then they always ask you if you know some celebrity because you're from California, right? So they're like, this
Yeah.
person, know that person. But yeah, they were receptive. The thing is, it doesn't matter which country I go to, there are still the same issues. There's still self-esteem issues. There's still
Mhm.
self-sabotage issues. There's still self-harm issues. There's, basically hate. There's suicide. And then what social media does is it perpetuates it, right? So,
Mhm.
because now it's a constant comparison, seeing what other people have, and then making yourself feel bad about your life when, social media isn't even really real. It's a whole nother reality that we get to see the highlight reel of people. But sometimes it's just, it makes people very, very sad. And so I always tell them, before I got into speaker, I owned a mortgage company and a real estate company in California for years. And the average person at that point, this is 2008, the average person had about maybe 50,000. The average family had about $50,000, $40,000 of credit card debt right before the recession happened, not including car loans, not including student loans, stuff like that, mortgages. But a lot of people had were using their revolving lines of credit, their credit cards. And if people could see the real person that buys the nice Escalator, the nice Range Rover, the nice Ferrari, goes on a beautiful vacation to Turks and Caicos or Fiji and spend thousands of dollars, and they buy a new house. The thing is that the majority of Americans are in debt. So you don't want to be like that and be in debt over where you're stressed out all the time. But a lot of people live stressed, and a lot of stress comes from financial stress. But man, it looks good on social media, but they don't understand how stressful it is in real life. So you could go get that Range Rover, you could go get that Escalade, you could go get the car, the house, if you really wanted to work for that, but then you're in debt.
Yeah, that's true. And don't you believe that it's because of, reality TV shows and social media that a lot of young people want to live that lifestyle, but they really don't know the cost that
Right.
it will bear on them.
Right. And those reality shows, like, aren't even real. They're scripted. I know, I've been on TV. I know how the producers tell me what angle I'm supposed to go at. Everything is scripted. So it's all fake, dude. We live in fake food, fake news, fake, fake everything, dude. A lot of this reality is fake.
Yeah, living in the matrix, as I like to say.
Yeah. Right. And everybody wants to basically buy your brain cells, rent your brain cells. So I always tell people, don't even watch news. News is they're fear dealers, basically. They're pumping fear in you, and then it gets this belief system in your brain. Fear creates these chemical releases, and then it anchors that in there, and it creates more anxiety and worry. And then guess what? They're advertising on the news, advertisements on the commercials. Take this pill for anxiety, take this pill for worry, blah, 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 blah. And what are the side effects of all those pills, right?
Yeah.
Suicide.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of the times, I know. So a lot of the times, these medications that they're pumping, the side effects are suicide, and they're trying to stop the suicide. So it's very, very sad what's going on, but there's a lot of fakeness going on, a lot of fakeness throughout this nation. So
yeah, and it's so funny. Jesus warned about this stuff. There would be wars and rumors of wars and all the fakeness that was going to happen. Man, he called it before it happened.
Right. Right. And you got to be careful that your pastor isn't fake. Let's just be real.
Yeah.
Seriously, how many times have I've seen pastors that are telling you how to get to heaven, but hiding behind their own sins, having affairs and having all these different relationships and stuff. So, you have to navigate, man. You have to navigate. I'll tell you, if Jesus came back right now, he'd be so disappointed in most of the churches. I'm being real. I'll just be real.
Mm-hmm.
So,
yeah, the churches of Laodicea are happening right now.
yeah, that's why we got to come together. We got to come together and become humble and help each other That's the thing, helping each other. And that's what I try to do every day, man. That hope, helping one person every day.
Yeah, that's awesome, man.
And I'm not here to dig on pastors. I love pastors, but there's fake everything, right? There's fake everything. So I just try to call out I want the raw and the real.
Yeah, and we talked about certain TV network owners that ripped off a guy almost $50 million.
Right.
But we're not going to mention any names, but we know who we're talking about.
I do believe that a lot of that, there is a lot of corruption in the media. Absolutely. Because it's all about money. Everything is about money. Everything is about money. And so they're trying to put us into being consumers of everything. And in the end, we lose ourselves, brother. We lose ourselves. Listen, I live on a ranch, brother. I got out of Cali and I now live on a ranch because I knew that I wanted to go to a place where I could decompress and be one with the dirt, like how all of our ancestors used to be.
Yeah. Hey, that's true. And their hard work paid off.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
And I'm pretty sure your kids love it too.
Yeah. No, it's great. So fortunately I get to be able to fly. I can live anywhere. I just need to be near an airport. So but yeah, no, it's very important that we become aware of I mean, the Bible talks about the matrix. It actually has the words matrix in there a few times, just like the word unicorn, right? So, but it has the words matrix in the Bible. So we have to become very aware of this reality and what is trying to steal our attention. So I'm very cognizant. I'm very aware. And sometimes you get sucked in, right? So you have to think about what you're thinking, and you have to be a witness to your thoughts and realize that our program, the subconscious, has been programmed, and we have to consciously be conscious of telling our subconscious to shut up. and say, no, I'm going to be intentional about my life and not just get caught in a trap. And that's what sometimes the subconscious allows you to do, get caught.
Yeah, and you know what? That trap can be very ginormous.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, hey, and Pat is on right now. He says, "Hey, great program, gentlemen."
Oh, what's up, DJ Pat?
Oh man, I gotta tell you, this stuff is absolutely true. Let's divert back to what you said about medications. I always watch these commercials. Oh, if you take this, blah blah blah, you may have to seek medical attention right away if you have suicidal thoughts. I'm like, yeah.
Yeah. No, it's crazy. You know, I come from foster care where foster kids are 13 times. Diane Sawyer from ABC News did a whole segment on us kids in foster care where we're 13 times more likely to be prescribed medication than the normal kid. And I tell people all the time, man, do you understand that we don't need to be prescribed medication right off the bat? What we need to be is to be held and to be loved and feel secure and feel validated and feel acknowledged and to feel loved, right? So sometimes we're just grieving. I mean, in fact, most of us kids in foster care are grieving, but then they want us to, you know, be numbed down or just numb. And that's not how you heal. Believe me, that is not how you heal. The only way to heal is to get through the crap. And sometimes they throw us on meds and it just doesn't heal us.
Oh, bro, it's purposely done, you know, for total destruction. And
Well,
it's absolutely sad that this stuff happens. And, you know, I say, you know what? Like you just said, people need to be loved on, especially children,
yeah.
especially in this day and age. I mean, that's one of the best holistic medicines ever.
Yeah, I've been to summer camps for youth in foster care, children in foster care. And usually they have a line in the morning or in the evening where they have to meet with the nurse and get their medication. And you should see little 5, 6-year-olds getting the cocktail of 5, 6 psychotropic medications. And it makes us so sad because they're only 5 years old and they've been abused. But we've got to figure out if you can get them to heal quick, like heal early on, their life is going to be so much better. That's the key, is to get them to build their self-esteem, get them to heal. But man, if we just keep pumping meds, I mean, who wins in this whole situation? We know who runs America, the pharmaceutical companies. I mean, we know. So look at the lobbying, look at all that stuff. We know who runs. I understand that there's times when you should take medication, but it should not be especially for us children that are grieving from foster care, it should not be the first thing that we go through. It should be like, okay, let's work first on healing, and let's work that you're grieving and where you're going through the stages of grieving, the grieving process, you know, anger, sadness, guilt, all these things, right? And so we need to work through that first in a more like natural and holistic way versus just like, let's just put you on meds. So I'm against that. Now, I'm not against meds. I'm against people like me that grew up in the government care, that were just pushed on meds without giving us the tools to heal and to move forward and to grieve. Because there's no time limit on grieving too. You know, I could get emotional right now of my sister who was shot and killed when I was 16 years old. And that was years ago. I learned to live with the pain. I learned to live with that void, and life just goes on. But there is no time limit on grieving. Tell that to somebody. I meet lots and lots of people that have been molested. Tell somebody that was molested as a young kid and that are now 60 years old to get over it. No, you never get over that. So
no, it stays with you forever.
Right. And there's a lot of people that'll say, get over it, suck it up, blah, blah, blah. I'm not that type of person. I want to work with what you've got, and we keep moving forward through empathy and compassion and understanding, but also going back and mentally and rescuing that little kid. You know, what would you do differently? You know, change the perspective, right? But man, we're in a society where all we want to do is just numb you.
Yeah. And you know, the word pharmacy actually comes from the original Greek word pharmakia, which means sorcery.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So that tells you right there.
Well, think about the isn't there a snake on the medical thing or something, right?
Yeah. On that thing. Yeah.
The serpent. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know much about. I'm not a conspiracy guy, but I always thought, why are there serpents on there? Coming from a believer, we know that Adam and Eve and the serpent, right? So I'm like, well, why do they got serpents on the medical stuff? So it might be my own ignorance, and there's probably a real reason why. But I always thought, like, what does that mean?
Hey, that could be the real reason why. You might be onto it.
Like I said, I'm not against medication, but it's not. It should not be the first thing for kids that are grieving.
Yeah, it should be like the super last resort.
Yeah, there's got to be
not even the last resort.
Yeah,
I mean, man, life has a lot more to present to children than that.
Right. And when you got these kids that are grieving, they're going to have behaviors, and then what are the behaviors telling you, right? The behaviors might be the only way they can share their story because they can't verbalize it because it's DTA, don't trust anybody, so they're not going to talk about it. But maybe the behaviors are the only way they can tell the story. So I'm a big believer on trying to connect. Connection.
Yes, and yes. You said it right there. You said it right there, bro.
Hallelujah! I hear that. I hear it in the background. Yeah.
Oh man, but it's insane. And throughout my broadcasting career, I've actually talked to like adults who were going through certain stages of their lives, and they would tell me, the only time I hear from a family member is when they need something financially, and then after that, they're gone.
Right.
I don't hear from them, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, wow, that's crazy.
Yeah.
And then this guy says, if you didn't talk to me that day, bro, I was going to end it all. I'm like, really?
Yeah.
I was like, wow, and now years later, I'm like, man, God really knew how to use me. And I really wasn't realizing it at the time.
Right.
Yeah,
there's so many people that feel alone. There's so many people. I was dealing with a young girl. I get a bunch of DMs on my social media. I got, under Rapping Dad, I got the blue check mark, right? The verified. So people send me lots of messages and I have to sift through them. But I was dealing with a 17-year-old young girl, teenager that had written to me that she was ready to commit suicide, tried again for the third time. And she'd already tried it twice, and she felt so alone, but she felt so connected to one of my Rapping Dad videos. So she reached out to me and she wrote all this stuff about how she felt so alone in this world. And how did you make it, Derek? And then the first thing I do is when I get DMs, after I read it, I go to their personal profile and I see how many followers or friends they have. And she had about 1,000 friends, yet she felt so alone, Vin.
Mm-hmm.
So alone. But had 1,000 friends and then felt the need to reach out to somebody that maybe she would never, ever get a hold of. But fortunately, I do check my DMs. So I wrote her back. I always write them back, but I always write on something like this. The meaning of life is to give your life meaning. The secret of living is giving. What are you contributing to this world? Sometimes when you're helpless, you got to get helpful. What are you contributing to this world?
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes when you feel like you're so lost, if you will just know that you're not alone and reach out to other people, like she reached out to me, and we were able to save her life, and life went on.
Mm-hmm.
But it's that attitude of gratitude, right? Because I remember that old parable. I don't know where it's from, but it says, I complained I had no shoes until I met a man who had no feet. So it's all about perspective, right?
Yeah.
So you're not alone. You're not alone. And there's probably someone that's got it worse than you. But man, if you can go be helpful instead of helpless and go out and, contribute, and what can you do to help this world, man, your life is going to be filled up. Your soul will be filled up.
Mm-hmm. I've had some great mentors, and they've always told me the words you say to someone could change their life or make a difference right at that very moment. You say those words to them.
Yeah, words are powerful.
Mm-hmm.
Words save a life. A text saves a life. checking in. Because people just want to feel validated, acknowledged. They want to feel listened to. They want to feel secure. They want to feel safe. They want to feel loved. They want to feel liked. I tell people all the time that, listen, your inner world determines your outside world. So if your inner world isn't all together, your outside world is going to be a reflection of your inside world. So don't let the inner me become the enemy. Oh, yeah. Don't let the inner me become the enemy. The key is to first love yourself, like yourself, so that you channel that light out. Because right now, when you're living in turmoil on the inside, how is your life going to be better? So you can't think negative and expect a positive life. You can't be negative and have actions of negativity and still expect, I'm going to have a positive life. You have to change the way you think of things. I love my book mentor, basically, Dr. Wayne Dyer. And one of my favorite quotes
Love
from
that
him,
guy.
famous quote, when you change the way you look at things, the things you look at change. So I used to look at my life as a curse. And guess what attracted more into my life? More negativity and curse. But once I flipped the script and divorced my story from, victim to victor, my life became a blessing. And then what attracted into my life? What came into my life? More positivity, more blessings. It's all about when you change the way you look at things, the things you look at change.
That's true. And you mentioned Wayne Dyer. I watched this one film that he created. Do you remember The Shift?
Yes. That little movie, yes.
Yeah, that's a great movie.
In fact, I think I might have the book. I have a bunch of Dr. Wayne Dyer here. Wishes fulfilled, change your thoughts, change your life, excuses be gone, power of intention. And I think
he's looking for it. I think he has it. I think Derek has it.
I'm looking for it. Here's all my books. I got it. The Shift. Yes. These are all my Wayne Dyer books right here. Look at all those. Well, let's see, right there. All Wayne Dyer. The Shift. Yeah. That was a great little show, like great little movie too.
And Wayne Dyer's a believer.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's one of the great things.
Yeah, I really resonated and connected with Wayne Dyer because he was in foster care. His dad was in prison. He didn't really know his dad. So I was looking for people that when I was feeling alone in life years and years ago, I resonated with his story.
Yeah, I'm like, Wayne Dyer just inspired me. I'm like, I had never heard of this guy up until 2013. And then I watched the movie The Shift on YouTube and I'm like, wait a minute.
Yeah.
He's on it.
Yeah. What a good guy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, this guy's incredible.
Yeah. Taking your life from ambition to meaning. Yeah. It's a great little book. It's just a little book. Yeah.
Yeah.
My favorite book from Wayne Dyer, though, my favorite one is this one, The Power of Intention. Oh my gosh. It totally helped change my life. And then my other favorite book is, I have so many books around here. Let's see. Oh, here it is right here. This one changed my life. The Power of Now from Eckhart Tolle, about being a witness to your thoughts and living in the moment, living in the now versus living in your past or living in the future. I'll be happy when, or why did this happen to me? And I'm still not happy. So into what now? I can only do what's real right now. The past is over. The future hasn't even come. What can I do right now in this moment? But a lot of people live in the past and a lot of people live in the future. So I really strive to live in the now. I struggle, but I really am intentional about it. Yeah.
Yeah. People always ask me, dude, how do you remain so upbeat and positive, even though you have to sometimes report like crazy news stories and all this other stuff? I'm like, man, I have the peace of God. I believe that being optimistic really helps you out when it comes to your health, when it comes to your thinking, just with your soul.
Right. There's research. I was speaking in Mexico for the UNAM, the Mexico University Preparatory Schools, and I was speaking with a professor there, and there is research that hatred, bitterness, grudges, resentment, rage depletes and ruins your immune system.
Mm-hmm.
So when you have all that, you carry all that bitterness and rage and hatred and grudges, people get sick from it because it taxes your body, it taxes you, it taxes your mind, all that stuff. So I'm big on, don't worship your worry. A lot of people worship their worry, and a lot of the things that you worry about don't even come true. Now, I worry sometimes, and I get sad sometimes, and I get mad sometimes. I go through the whole gamut of emotions, but I've learned tools on not to unpack and live there. A lot of people live in bitterness and sadness and anger and rage for years. I know how to get through it so quick, within 5 minutes, within an hour, within a day. Sometimes I feel it, and then I swipe it like a phone. Like a picture on your phone, you swipe it and you just
whisk it away.
Yeah. Otherwise, it infects you. It infects your immune system. It infects your mind. So, hate is contagious. Bitterness is contagious. But so is love. So is kindness. Yeah.
Yes. It certainly is. And that saying, hate in your heart will consume you until the day you leave this earth, and that could be real soon,
right,
if you don't put it in check.
Right, it poisons you. It literally poisons you. Poisons your mind. Yeah.
Isn't that crazy?
Yeah.
That
what you focus on grows, right? Really.
Yeah.
What you focus on, energy flows to. So what you focus on grows. What you visualize, you materialize in real life. So if you're always hateful and always bitter and have grudges and resentful, not only is it killing you on the inside, but it's also manifesting itself on the outside of your life.
Man.
Yeah.
Absolutely insanely true. Craziness. And I always try to be a positive influence around, people that I'm talking to, or, folks that are going through tough situations.
Yeah.
Because things are rough.
Yeah.
I understand that. I have my moments. And just like you said, I swipe it away because I don't want it to consume me the whole day.
Right.
I don't want that to consume me. I want it away from me, actually.
Right.
Once
and
it goes over me, I'm like, goodbye.
Yeah. Right. But sometimes people do get mad. Everybody, even Jesus got mad in the temple, throwing tables and everything. We don't even know what he said. We don't know what we only know what the Bible says right there in that moment. But man, who knows what was really going on too, right? So there's a lot of righteous anger going on probably. But yeah, the key is not to unpack and live in it.
Mm-hmm.
So
it's like living in a pack of garbage.
Right. I recently met a 56-year-old woman in Nebraska, and she came up to me crying after my event and says, "How do I let go of the bitterness, Mr. Clark? I've passed it on to my own kids because bitterness is contagious."
Ouch.
Yeah.
Ouch.
So sad.
Super.
And you know what I told her? You know what I told her? I told her you need to forgive yourself.
Amen.
Listen, I was raised in a church where you forgive others. Okay, let's be real. Turn the cheek, forgive others. But no one really ever told me to forgive myself. So a lot of us Christians walk around with shame, blame, and guilt on us. And that's not how God wants us to be. That's not what Jesus's atonement was for, right? And so he doesn't want us walking around with this shame, blame, and guilt. Yes, feel bad. Okay, yeah. But move forward and do something productive with your life. And so a lot of people, unfortunately, live in that shame, blame, and guilt, and then they pass it on generational cycles, generational curses. And I come from a long line of generational curses. I have the arrest warrant from my great-grandfather in 1892 in Arkansas for attempted murder. I have a ton of felony arrest warrants from my dad, who was in and out of prison for years. And I had to realize that I was not going to pass on generational curses to my family, that I was going to pass on generational blessings and generational strengths as well. So that's the way I live my life.
Yeah, and I believe that is the way God wants us to live, especially if we're going to be his employees. You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely.
He wants us to work for him for his glory. Because right now, I'm working for him. I'm not working for any man. I'm working for him.
Right.
You know?
Hey.
And I got to tell you this much. We need to make sure that we are right with ourselves at the same time, because like you just said, Derek, this stuff can kill you, man.
Right.
Can literally kill you.
And so many people walk around with mini masks on during the day. And we all know what we need to work on. When you're alone by yourself and the TV's off and the video games are off and you're sober and all that stuff, and you sit on the side of your bed and you just think for just a minute or two, you know what you need to work on. So I always challenge people to start breaking a habit. Start breaking a habit. There's many bad habits that we all have. Just start breaking a habit. I love that old Chinese proverb that says, the best time to plant a tree was 20 years ago. The second best time is today. The second best time to plant a seed is today. So I always challenge individuals all the time, break a habit. Show your tenacity, show your persistent determination that you never give up. Don't just give in to the world, right? Break some habits that you know are not healthy and productive for you. And you know what they are. You know what they are.
100%. Man, we need to do more of these together.
Bring on the motivation.
Yeah, man, because I'm telling you, like we said earlier before we started the show, we're like, man, there's a lot of broken people out there.
There's a lot of angry people. You see them on the road. All you got to do is turn on the news and see who's shooting who and all these things that are going on. It's so sad. So I just try to work one person at a time.
We do what we're called to do, right?
Yeah. When I speak in prisons and juvies, youth detention centers, I always tell them, you know what anger is? Anger is one letter away from danger. Anger, danger. They tell us stranger danger, but really also you should be thinking about anger, one letter away from danger. Nothing really gets solved really well with a bunch of anger.
Wow. That's amazing, man. That is amazing. Wow. Unbelievable. I'm just lost because you just said what needed to be said right there.
Oh, thank you, brother. Yeah. Just trying to bring some words that maybe will connect with somebody that's going through something right now. Don't let your past infect your future. I mean, one of the things that changed my life was I was 18 years old and I had just been expelled out of high school for violence. And my sister had been shot and killed. My brother had been killed. My good friend had been shot and killed, all when I was 16 to 17 years old. So I was this angry youth in foster care. And I remember going through a 3-day course on how to understand my rage and my anger at 18 years old, because my foster parents wanted me to go to this because nothing's working with my anger and my rage. And I was very reactionary. And so the counselor said this to me. She goes, Derek, it was never your fault. It was your parents out of control. Your parents were emotionally dysregulated, but it created your nervous system, your central nervous system, to fight, flight, freeze, or fawn mode. But realize that it was never your fault, but it's your life now at 18. What are you going to do with your life? If your life is like this, 0 to 100, 0 to 100, like this piece of road, this is your life, 0 to 100. Are you going to let the first 18 years of your life control the next 84 years of your life? This part of your life control the next 80 years of your life. And so it was right then that I realized that I was never going to let my past infect my future. Never let my parents infect my future. To not let my parents' mistakes confine me, but also to let them refine me, not to define me, but to refine me, that what's happened to me with all the scars and abuse was not nearly as important as what's happened inside of me. And for so long, I was letting the inner me become the enemy. See, my dad couldn't destroy me in the womb. My stepdad couldn't destroy me. My mom couldn't destroy me. The only one destroying me, Vindog, was me. Once I started to become aware of that, to not let the inner me become the enemy, that I should be my own best friend, my own I should like myself, love myself. You know, I tell people all the time, the most important opinion you should have in this life, of course, what God thinks about you, but in reality right here, it's not what your pastor thinks about you, not what your teacher thinks about you, not what your best friend thinks about you, not what your parents think about you. It's when you look in the mirror. Do you like yourself? Do you love yourself? That's the opinion you should have of yourself. That's the most important opinion. Once you realize that I do like myself, I do love myself, your life will go in a better direction. But I meet so many people that do not like themselves.
Mm-hmm.
And they self-sabotage themselves. They self-sabotage their relationships, right? So we all have these invisible forces that are trying to control us. They control us with our finances, our relationships, with our careers, with our being a father, a mother, a husband, a wife. And these invisible forces are your sadness, your anxiety, your worry, your depression, your anger, your rage, your resentment, your unforgiveness, all this stuff. And it's controlling all of you. But there's also emotions that empower you, like love, like compassion, like creativity, like trusting somebody, like something that will make you feel human again.
Yep.
And that have that empathy where you don't feel very human when you're always walking around angry and bitter and resentful. You don't see the good in life. That's not the human experience you're supposed to have.
As I like to say, 10,000%. You know what's crazy? I always say, people say, oh, 0 to 100. Me, I like to say 0 to 10,000.
There you go. Push it over the edge.
Yeah, I'm like, let's go hard in the paint and do this right. You know, because I am so at a point in my life where I want to see people have those burdens that are on their shoulders to be lifted. And I said, you know what? The number one thing to do is pray.
Yeah.
Pray for your burdens to be lifted off of your shoulders. And then secondly, don't sit in that stuporous that has that burden on your shoulder.
Yeah.
Because
surrender.
Yes.
Yeah. Surrender. So many people want to resist. Surrender it to God. Don't get attached to it. I tell people all the time metaphorically, we're all born with a backpack. And throughout life, we put in that backpack the crap of our past, man. And it's heavy by the time you're 20 years old. If you've been carrying a lot of resentment, bitterness, grudge, all this stuff. And some people carry it to their 40, 50, 60, 70. But you carry this backpack of crap in your life. And once in a while, you take that backpack off. And you throw it on the ground and you feel light for a minute. You're like, oh, this feels good. I just released it. I surrendered. I'm off of it. But then that backpack starts calling your name. Hey, Derek, I miss you, buddy. You know, we've been attached ever since birth. Come on, buddy. Put me back on. And I'm arguing with this backpack, metaphorically, right? And then what I do is like, I don't want this backpack on me, but oh, man, I do miss some of the victim mentality in there. So I unzip the backpack. And I put my hand in the backpack and I get a big glob of this crap from the past and I smear it on myself and I wonder why my life stinks. And then I put the backpack on and I continue the pattern. And so you have to do this pattern interruption. You have to break the pattern, break the cycle. So you have to release the backpack. And how do you release it? Through prayer, through surrender, your will, right?
Yes.
But we resist. I know. I wrote a book on hating God for a little bit. Like I hated God because I felt like he wasn't helping me. And then I turned it into, I will never give up on God again, from feeling abandoned by God to feeling embraced by God. But I did have a bad relationship. I just thought he never loved me until I had the right perspective and I surrendered and realized that, wow, he really had a plan all along, which brought me to you today.
Yes, sir. You know what? He did bring us together, brother. He had his purpose, right?
Yep.
And he knows how to fulfill it, whether we know it's coming or not.
Right. See, I would be in I got to hang out with President Bush when he was a president in 2006. And I would meet with Obama. I would meet with Jimmy Carter. I would meet with Nixon. I would meet with JFK. I'd meet with Trump. I'd meet with whoever, because if I can have their ear for 2 minutes and be able to say that they have this human experience. See, we're so divided. We don't, oh, you're Democrat, you're Republican. Oh, I don't want to talk to you. It's all cancel culture. But we've lost it where we need to communicate. We need to not escalate. We need to communicate, right? So, you know, even if it's beyond my political beliefs or my religious beliefs, I would still meet with these people because everybody needs it to seek to understand. Everybody needs an ear. Everybody needs to listen, but also our stories. This is how I feel about this politically, religiously, economically, all that stuff. Our stories, every one of us has a story. And so we're in this culture of cancel, cancel, cancel. Oh, you're Democrat, you're Republican. Oh, you're Baptist. Oh, you're Mormon, all this stuff, right? And it's one against the other. But the thing is everybody's got a story. And if we would realize this, that our stories as humanity, each one of our stories has the ability to be the master key to the lock of the self-imprisonment, the mental prison that people go through. So it doesn't matter what side you are on. We need to come together because your story is powerful. Everybody's story is powerful.
Absolutely. 100% to 10,000. And you know what? On that note, I got to tell you, if people do not wake up and realize that all we need to do is come together and talk and iron out our differences. There used to be a time where folks were able to talk to one another no matter what side of the aisle you were on. Now, it's insane. It's terrible what's happening right now. Just terrible.
Yeah, a lot of hate. A
Yeah.
lot of division. That's why I said, man, I would talk to any president. I would talk to any world leader. I would talk to any religious leader. I don't care if I agree with them or not. It's just a human to another human having that spiritual experience, hopefully, where we can come together. Man, I've seen people's lives change, dude, in a matter of minutes. All of a sudden, an aha moment, like Oprah says, the aha moment happened and clarity came, new perspective came. So I know that is totally able to happen in every human. I've seen it in prisons. I've seen it from addicts who've changed their life. I've seen so many instances where people have changed their life that people would judge them, right? They would judge them based on their prison, what they were convicted for and all this stuff. But I have seen lives change, and I can see lives change in a political party. I can see lives change in a religious party, in a religious affiliation, a religious sect. I can see lives change. All we are is we're humans having this spiritual experience, or are we spirits having this human experience, right? So I believe we're spirits having this human experience. Once our spirits get aligned, I call it syncing your mind to your spirit, because so many people live here. They live right in their head. They don't live in their heart. Once we start living in our heart, things come together.
Yes, sir. And you know, it's amazing about what you just said. The Apostle Paul, when he was Saul,
all right,
was pushing believers to the slaughter.
He killed
look
hundreds.
what God did to him.
Yeah, he killed hundreds. Now
Yeah,
he's one of the
and
biggest,
Stephen.
right? And he's one of the biggest contributors of the Bible. So God uses imperfect people, right? And uses them for his will. So a lot of people are going to be probably amazed to see all the types of different people that will be in heaven.
Believe you me, God can change anyone.
Right.
Just like that.
Right. I mean, look at King David. Look at Moses. Look at Judah, stick of Judah, right? So like the tribe of Judah, like you can see there are so many instances in the Bible where God forgives and moves forward with the people, with the leader. So
yeah, it's amazing what could happen in your life when you surrender.
Yeah.
You know, surrender it all and
Yep.
you'll get it all 100-fold.
Learn to flow with the river instead of resisting and trying to swim upstream. Learn to flow with it. Learn to dance with it. Learn to move with it. So
Man, that's awesome.
yeah.
Man, my brother, man, I really appreciate and love that you're here with me today.
Oh, you're
And,
welcome.
you know, I I know I kept you for a long time,
Oh,
but
no problem.
dude,
Well,
it
we
was
should
just-
close on a rapping dad song. Or
Yeah, we
I'll throw
should.
a little rap. Okay,
Yeah.
so my social media is Rapping Dad, RAPPINGDAD. My website is IWillNeverGiveUp.com. And we'll do something like this, motivational, right? Like,
Mhm.
let's see. So here's a few lessons that I've learned. I've turned a mess into a message and earned a return. I've turned scars into stars. Live like avatars. No one can stop you if you believe in your heart. And this is your life. Go and own it. Never let the past infect your future for a moment. Never let a weakness destroy your greatness. It's time to profess. You're too blessed to be stressed. Bam! You could be everything you want to be, but never let the enemy be your enemy. It's time to be better and not bitter. It's a choice to be a winner, and it's a choice to be a quitter. So if you've been knocked down or thought about suicide, get out of the shadows and hold your head high, because this is your time and this is your sign. Get up and climb. You were born for this moment to shine. Vin Dog in the house.
Woo!
Hey, brother, thanks for having me on. Appreciate it.
Man, much love to you, my brother. Man, we'll have to talk for a couple seconds when we sign off.
All
But I
right.
just want to thank you all for joining us this afternoon. And please look up the Rapping Dad. I'm telling you, my brother Derek is on roids when it comes to loving God and
I'm
loving
juiced up.
people. You know what I'm saying? The truth is real and God is it. All right.
Amen.
Hey, Derek, can you do us a huge favor as a
Yeah.
traditional thing we like to do here on Vindog Radio Live? Would you mind praying us out?
All right. Dear God, Lord, bless us with the power to do your will. We're grateful for all the many blessings you have given us. We're grateful for your son, the sacrifices that you made. We know, Lord, there's lots of people, your children of God, that need compassion and need empathy. We ask that we strive to be your instrument, your vessel. In your son's name, amen.
Amen. Hey, we love you. Take care of yourselves. Take care of one another. And please share this broadcast with as many people as you can. I'm telling you, one person at a time, like my brother Derek, aka the Rapping Dad, said. All right. We love you. So does Jesus, baby. We'll talk to you soon.